Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for showing up for your learning on this terrific Tuesday. It's a terrific Math Tuesday, and I remain, as always, your faithful math servant, Mr. Jennings. Let's take up the exit ticket. There were a few topics that came up in a lot of places. So some common errors that I want to review. If we get these ironed out early in the course, it's going to be a lot more smooth sailing going forward. So let's use that to motivate ourselves and see our errors. This one caused some consternation amongst some of you. One of the things to remember here is that I am going to be using the distributive property to distribute that 2 into this bracket. And I am going to choose to distribute negative 2x into this bracket. Following that, I will not be doing a multiplication. Some of you treated this as a multiplication here, but it's not. It's subtraction between these two. So we're not multiplying binomial times binomial there. So in this case, we're going to have 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times minus 1 is minus 2. And then over here, I have minus 2x times 3x. So that will be minus 6x squared. And then minus 2x times 1 is minus 2x. So the 6x and the 6x squared are not like terms. I can't put them together and combine them. But the 6x and 2x are. So let's write this in standard form. Standard form means that I have first I'm going to write down my x squareds. I'm going to write those down first. Write these in the descending order of the exponents. So I write negative 6x squared plus 6x minus 2x. I had 6 apples. Someone took away 2 of my apples. Now I will have 4 apples. So I will have 4 x's here. Use these metaphors to help guide your work. And then this minus 2 comes down over there. Now this is written in standard form. That's done final answer. So this is all BEDMAS. And we approach this in BEDMAS order to make sure that we avoid any errors. And what do I mean that's BEDMAS? Well, if you take a look up here, first we have to do this multiplication. There's nothing that can be done in the brackets because 3x minus 1, because I don't know what x is, I can't do that yet. I just have to leave it alone. But I can do this multiplication and this multiplication here before I do this subtraction. So that has to happen in BEDMAS order. It's all just BEDMAS. Now over here in B, again, there's nothing I can do inside those brackets, but I can multiply a bracket times a bracket like this. Hey, Jesse and Kate, I'll get pretty distracted to keep that up. So here, x times 2x is going to give us our first term. And some of you had on your pages, you wrote this down, FOIL. This is great to remind yourself to get all of the terms. So I do first times first, first. First times first, first. That will be x times 2x, so 2 times x times x. Instead of writing x times x, I just write x squared. That means x multiplied by itself. And then I'll do the outer terms, the O terms. So x times 3, that's 3x. And then I'll do the inner terms, 2 times 2x. That is 4x. And then do the last times the last terms. Okay? Some of you wrote down FOIL, but you still managed to miss some of these terms. 2 times 3 is 6. It's not 5, it's 6. And so that gives us 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. That can't be simplified, so it's done final answer. All we do there is collect those like terms, and then we're done. Now down here, this one also caused some errors. And the error happened when people said, I've got one thing times another thing times another thing. What order do I do the multiplication in? Whatever order you want. But just do each multiplication once. If I have a question like 3 times 4 times 5, well, I could do that like this, 12 times 5. Oh, that's 60. No problem. I could also do it like this, 3 times 20. I did the last multiplication first. Oh, that's also 60. Cool. But I don't do it this way. I do not multiply 3 times 4 and 3 times 5. If I do that, I would get 12 times 20. That would be 240. Wait, that would be 12 times 15. 12 times 15, and that would give me 180, and that's not correct. That's because I would be multiplying the 3 twice, and shouldn't do that. I just multiply it once, because that's what I do. So in this case, we have 3 things, just like I had in that example, and I just want to multiply each one only once. So the way I would do this one is I do this multiplication first and then multiply in my 3. I think it's just going to keep things a little simpler. So I'm going to use an equal sign. And for those of you not writing equal signs here, that's a good habit. You can start. 3 multiplied by, and then I'm going to put the result of this multiplication inside the brackets. It's going to create a trinomial, 3 terms, and that's going to be what I work with next. X times x is x squared. X times 5 is plus 5x. Negative 2 times x is minus 2x. And negative 2 times 5 is minus 10. Simplify inside your brackets. So I have 3 multiplied by x squared plus 5x minus 2x. I had 5 apples. Willen took 2 of them away. He's got a football game on Friday, so he's bulking. So I'm left with 3 apples minus 10. Okay? Now, final step, multiply this 3 in. This 3 wants to multiply that term, and that term. So I will end up with 3x squared plus 9x minus 30. Let's carry on. Oh, let's carry on. This one here, again, we're not asked to multiply these 2 brackets. This one, we're going to subtract 1 bracket from another bracket. So let's take a look at what we get. In order to simplify, I first want to do this multiplication here. So let's use an equal sign. I'm going to say x squared minus 3x plus 4. I'm not changing that in this line, but this line becomes minus 5x squared plus 5x minus 10. Okay? I take this minus 5. I multiply it by x squared to get minus 5x squared. I multiply minus 5 by minus x to get plus 5x. The negative multiplied by a negative canceled them. We're going to see that mistake a lot on the back side of your sheets, okay? And then minus 5 times positive 2 gave me the negative 10. And now I can collect my like terms. X squared minus 5x squared, negative 4x squared. If I had 1 apple and Willen came and took 5 of my apples, I somehow have negative 4 apples left. Minus 3x plus 5x, well, that'd be plus 2x. And then plus 4 minus 10, minus 6. Done, final answer. Can't be simplified. All right, let's carry on. Now we're on the back of the page for those of you who are flipping your page. Here, the trick when we're squaring this is I would just suggest write it out as a multiplication. X minus 3 multiplied by itself. And then that's going to give you x squared minus 6x plus 9. When I do x times x, that gives me x squared. X times minus 3 gives me negative 3x. Minus 3 times x gives me another negative 3x. Negative 3x minus 3x gives me minus 6x, that term there. And then negative 3 times negative 3 gives me positive 9. So this is done, final answer. Here we go. If you haven't been paying attention so far, you might want to start paying attention now, because this one was something that a lot of people would like to take a closer look at. Here, when we have a fraction there, it works just the same as if it's an integer. We're going to take this fraction and we're going to multiply it in. What's 3/4 of 4x? If I had 4 apples and you said, I would like 3/4 of your apples, how many apples would you be taking from me? 3. Yeah, 3/4 of 4 is 3. So that will be 3/4 times 4 is 3x. Okay, how did I do that? How do I just know that? Or how does Izzy just know that? 3 over 4 multiplied by 4, okay? 4 is 4 over 1, and here I see the same factor top and bottom, so they cancel, and I'm left with 3. So that's how I do this more algebraically, if I'm not just looking at it and knowing the answer. So there, my coefficient is 3x. 3 over 4 times 8. Well, if 3/4 of 4 was 3, 3/4 of 8 better be double that, so it's 6. But if I write that out, I would have 3 over 4 multiplied by 8. But 8 could be written as 4 times 2, right? 4 times 2 over 1. The 4 cancels this 4, so I'm left with 3 times 2 over 1. So that's plus 6x squared. A little bit of practice with your fractions there. I would do that kind of rough work over on the side and then write a nice beautiful line there. This, again, it's not multiplication. It's asking you to subtract. Or take minus 2 and distribute it into this bracket. So I'm going to have minus 2 times x is minus 2x. And minus 2 times 5, that was missed by some of you. Minus 2 times 5 is minus 10. Okay, so that's where that error came in. Then we have 3x minus 2x. Well, let's put it in standard form. So we have 6x squared. Write them in descending order of the exponents. So x squareds will go first. 3x minus 2x is plus x. It's just one of them. Minus 10. There you go. All right, let's carry on. Okay, yeah, complete the following questions. Yes. Now, this one, several of us want to really review this idea here, where we have not only been given an algebraic expression with variables in it, but we've been told the value of those variables. So we're asked, supposing that x is -1, blah, 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 evaluate each of the following. When you see evaluate, the answer is probably a number. It's probably not going to be an algebraic expression or a function or something. It's like, yeah, it's the number that we're looking for. So here, what we're going to do is substitute. I'm going to use an equals sign. And when I substitute, this may save some of you your mistakes. I see some mistakes that might come here. So adopt this habit. When I substitute in for x, I put it into a bracket. So x is -1, substitute into brackets. -2, and I substitute in here for y. Y is 2, so I put the 2 there. And then I'm going to substitute in for z, plus -3. Notice I'm substituting into brackets every time. When you do that, your work is tidier, and you're going to avoid sign errors. You're going to avoid multiplying when you should be adding or whatever. So here, -1 squared. -1 multiplied by -1. Is it +1 or -1? I can never remember. Why is it +1 and not -1? Negative times a negative is a positive, right? But shouldn't it be different than 1 squared? Like 1 squared is 1, so shouldn't -1 squared be -1 or something like that? No, it's not. Because, well, you can see it in your parabola. Okay? Here is y equals x squared. And if I go out from 0 to the positive direction, there's the point 1. So 1 squared is 1. But if I go in the negative direction, it's over there. -1 squared, well, it's also 1, right? So we have that symmetry. So they're both going to go in the positive direction when we're squaring. Squares are always positive. So that's just visually that idea there. So let's do it. Instead of that being -1, we're going to have +1. -2 times 2, well, that's -4. And then plus -3, well, that's -3. So I'm left with 1 minus 7, so that's -6. This one here, 3z squared plus x squared, you'll notice that I write 3 and I substitute z into brackets. Z is -3. So put that way. Plus x squared, well, x is -1. So we're doing that again. -1 squared. So here I have a bedmas problem. What do I need to do first? Yeah, we're going to do those exponents. Negative 3 squared. Negative 3 squared. Let's check my parabola. I go to the negative 3 and I go up to 9. Negative 3 times negative 3, positive 9. So 3 times 9, negative times a negative is a positive, plus 1 squared. Well, negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Okay, 3 times 9, 27, plus 1. Do Bedmas, so do the multiplication first, and then 28 is done final answer. So I hope that's helpful and reviews several of those places where we just need to get the rust off and warm up. And if there's more questions, come chat. We'll come meet. So, any questions also, hit me up by email or come find me in class.